but if he brings it as an oila too early, it's valid. And when is it? The Brisa before said Hashem Nazar Shemitzaira is included. The first Brisa is talking about when he's bringing it for the right intention. That's when he's pater, because it too early is invalid. And the Brisa that says that he's chayev if he brings it outside the temple is because he's having in mind that it's an oila. So this again would be a proof to Reb Chilkiah. If he brings it as an oila, it's valid, even though it's too early. So when he brings it for the wrong intention, it's valid. When he brings it for the right intention, it's invalid. The Gemara now asks, this is exactly what Rav Huna did not want to say. Rav Huna said that if you bring it for the right intention, it's impossible that bringing it for the wrong intention could be better than for the right intention. How can it be that for the right intention it's invalid and for the wrong intention it's valid? And here that's exactly what we're saying. So Amalach Rav Huna responds, Rav Huna says that here what are we dealing with is that it wasn't really for the wrong intention. Here we're dealing with he has two guilt offerings. He only needs one, but he designated two. Why did he designate two? Just in case. Achrayas means to be more responsible. He knows that after he brings one asham, the other one is going to be an oila. What does he do? Before he brings the first one, he brings the second. He brings the other one as an oila. So since Rav Huna Amarav, like Rav Huna taught this once in the name of Rav, Dam Rav Huna Amarav, Asham Shenitik L'Riya V'Shach B'Stam, it's Kasha Oila. It's automatically going to be an oila. So this is not considered shechting it for the wrong reason. Rav Huna had this problem. If you shecht it for the wrong reason, it's going to be valid. But if you shecht it for the right reason, it's going to be invalid. He says, no, this is not shechting it for the wrong reason. This is shechting it for the right reason because it was supposed to be an oila anyway. Okay. So we seem to have a proof to Reb Chilkiah, but we still don't have a disproof to Rav Huna. Let's see the next. Next Gemara is slightly easier than this. If someone offers up flesh of a sin offering, which is not supposed to be offered on the altar, and he goes and he takes it, he doesn't offer it on the altar, he offers it outside the temple on an outside altar. So does he incur the punishment of offering a sacrifice outside the temple? Even in the temple, it's not supposed to be brought. So the answer is that he does not incur the punishment, because it's not meant to be burnt. It's not meant to be put on the altar. Only something that's meant to be on the altar that you bring outside the temple is a problem. But if it doesn't go on the altar anyway, and you bring it outside the temple on the altar, it's nothing. Taner Rabbanan. The rabbis taught in a brayse, minayin l'mayla b'sar chatas, b'sar rosham, b'sar kachim, all types of flesh that are eaten, b'sar kachim kalam, or from the flesh of an animal of a sacrifice of lesser holiness, which is eaten. Umi ma'isar ha'imar, what's left over from the Omer sacrifice on Pesach, or shtei alechem, or the two loaves of bread that are brought on Shavuos, v'lechem apanim, or the show bread, it's brought every Shabbos, v'shiyarim min nachis, or the remnants of the carbon mincha, which all of these are eaten. Shapater, how do we know that if you bring it up on an outside altar, that he's exempt, because it's not meant to be brought? Talmud Omer oila. Pasuk says oila. Ma oila shi ru'uya la'ala, just like an oila is meant to be brought on the altar. Af kol shi ru'uya la'ala, also anything that's meant to be brought on the altar will incur the punishment. But this is not meant to be brought on the altar, so there's no punishment for bringing it outside the temple. Minayin shafa yoitzik va'boil va'paisis va'melech va'meinef va'magish va'masada shulchan va'meitav v'sneis va'kaimitz va'makal b'chut shapater. How do we know that if a person does all of these services in the temple, which is he pours the oil, he mixes the oil, he breaks up the matzah crumbs, he salts the sacrifice, he waves it, he brings it close, he organizes the table, he cleans out the menorah, he sticks his fingers in the mincha and takes a scoop, or if he catches the blood outside the temple, how do we know that all of these are exempt from a punishment? say, if he brings up a burnt offering or a sacrifice, it needs to be a final service. All of these are services that lead up to the final service. But because these are not the conclusive, the determining service that makes it into the sacrifice, so these are not a person that does this outside the temple doesn't incur the punishment. He walks the sacrifice up closer to an outside altar. So in the temple, that's part of the services. You're bringing it up, or you stick his fingers in to do the scoop of the mincha. But that's not the burning of it, that's not the sprinkling of the blood, it's not the main service. So therefore, outside the temple, he doesn't incur the punishment. Actually, Hukam Mishkan, if you remember, we were discussing that before the tabernacle was set up, the Koyanim would be the firstborns, and afterwards was the Koyanim. Let me read this from here. There's a verse in here. Okay, so it says, Yosef Rav Huna. Rav Huna was sitting. Yosef Rav Huna bar Ketina, Kamei Rav Chizda. Rav Huna bar Ketina was sitting in front of Rav Chizda, the Kam Kari, and he was reading the pasuk. The pasuk is referring to the sacrifices that were brought before Matan Torah. It says, Vayishlach es nari b'nei Yisrael. He sent the lads of the Jewish people, and they brought up sacrifices, and they brought up oilas, and they brought up peace offerings. Now, Rav Chizda explains that who were the Nari B'nai Yisrael? They were the Bechayros. So Amar Lei, Rav Huna says to him, Hachi Amar Ravasi. Ravasi says, Karvu Pasku, that these were the last sacrifices that the Bechayros brought. Before Matan Torah, that was the last one. What does it say in our Mishnah? That until the Mishkan, the Bechayros brought. Here we're saying that it's until Matan Torah. Now, Rav Huna says that this was the last one in the name of Ravasi. So Rav Chizda hears this, and Savar Leisuvim Masnisin. He wants to ask from a Mishnah. Our Mishnah says that it was until the Mishkan was set up. Shamei the Ka'amar. And then he hears that Rav Huna says another statement, Mishmei de Ravada Barava, in the name of Ravada Barava, Oyla Shekri Yisrael Bamidbar, that the sacrifice that the Jewish people brought in the desert, does not need to be skinned, and it doesn't need to be cut up, like the ones that are like the way it's done according to the Torah. It is skinned and cut up. We take the skin off. The skin goes to the Kayanim. Oisvei Braisa the Shavi Bekulim. So he decides that instead of asking from our Mishnah, which would only be a question on the first part, that the Bechayros stopped bringing sacrifice after Matan Torah, he decides to ask from a Braisa, which would be a question on both of these, on the skinning it and on when the Bechayros, when the firstborn stopped doing the service. The Braisa is the following. The Tanya was taught in a Braisa. Actually, who come a Mishkan, until the Mishkan was established, until the tabernacle was set up, Habamis Mutaris. People could bring on private altars. And the service was done by the firstborns. And everyone was able, and any animal was able to be brought. You could even bring wild animals. Male, female animals, it could even be with a blemish. But it needed to be pure. But it couldn't have been impure. V'hakol karvu oilas, and everyone brought oilas. V'oilas shekriv Yisrael b'midbar 2.5 shit v'nituach, and the oila that was brought in the desert needed to be skinned and cut up. That's our first problem. Here it says that it needed to be skinned and dissected, and the statement from Rav Huna in the name of Ravada Barava was that it did not. So that's going to be our first contradiction. V'nachrim bizman hazeh, and non-Jews nowadays, Rashayim Lasis King, they're able to bring on a bama, even though the Jewish people are not. But Goyim are allowed to bring on a bama to Hashem, not to Avodah Zarah. Okay. Now, what we're seeing here is that, first of all, that it was cut up, the sacrifice. We're also seeing that until the Mishkan was set up, who did the service? The firstborns. And Rav Huna said, in the name of Rav Asi, that the firstborn stopped doing it from the time of the giving of the Torah, which is 6 months earlier.
Isn't that when Hashem says that the Levim should come and serve me after the Chet Egel? Because they didn't sin. I'll have to double check it.
Was it after? When was the everyone had to give their papers to redeem the firstborn too? It said Levi was redeemed. Were exchanged in where was that in Parsha Shlach? I don't know. Okay, so the Gemara answers Tanaihi. This is actually a machlekes Tanaim, and that's why it's not a contradiction. The way we resolve contradictions many times in the Gemara is we say that it's a machlekes. It's two opinions. That's how contradictions are resolved. Now, it doesn't really resolve what exactly happened, but it resolves the statements. That you can't say that one person said both, that would be a problem, but if it's two different people saying it, okay. The Tanya was taught in a brisa. It says that even the people that come close, when it came to the giving of the Torah, that even the Kayanim should not come close to the mountain, right? Even though they normally go into the temple, but here they can't come close to the mountain. Rabbi Shub ben Karcha Zu Precious B'chayros. Rabbi Shub ben Karcha says that who are the Kayanim here? Who's doing the service? It's the firstborns. They were doing the service. They should not come close to the mountain. Rabbi Yomer Zu Precious Nadav Aviyu, but Rabbi says this is Nadav and Aviyu, the Kayanim. They should not come close to the mountain. Okay. The Gemara says Bishlaima. Who's talking here? This is Rabbi Shua ben Karcha or Rabbi. This machlekes who it was that's not supposed to come close. Rabbi Shua ben Karcha says the firstborns. Rabbi says it's Nadav and Aviyu. Gemara says Bishlaima works out well. Lamanda Merzu Precious Nadav Aviyu. According to Rabbi, that says Nadav and Avihu needed to stay away. This is what it says when the tabernacle was set up. And the Nadav and Avihu died, so it says, this is what God has spoken, that those that are close to me, I will become sanctified. Who is that? Nadav and Avihu.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to, they came close. When did they come close? They came close now, but they were meant to stay away from the mountain. B'kroivai, with those that do come close, I will be sanctified. The problem is, it says, Hu Asher Diber Hashem. This is what Hashem said. This is what Hashem spoke earlier. Now, when did Hashem say that they would come close? Hashem spoke at the giving of the Torah. He said that V'gam ha'kayanim hanigoshim el Hashem yiskadashu, that those that come close to Hashem, they should remain distant by the giving of the Torah. Afterwards, when they die, it says, this is what Hashem had spoken, that I will be sanctified by those that come close, referring to the ones by the giving of the Torah. That only makes sense if that's if he's referring to them. But according to the opinion that says Zu Precious B'chayros, that says that he wasn't even talking about Nadav and Avihu, he was talking about the firstborns. Heichor Amiza. So where does it say that these were the ones that came close, that now he's being sanctified? I will be sanctified. I will meet there, and I will be sanctified by those that honor me. I'll take with my honor. Don't read it as with my honor. Read it with those that honor me. Now, who are the ones that are honoring him? So, this is what God tells Moses. And they didn't understand this until they died, until the sons of Aaron died. And Kivan Shemesu, Bnei Aaron. Once they died, Amalai Aaron Achi. He says, Aaron, my brother, Leimesu Benecha, your children only died, Elahak Shmei Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to sanctify God's name. Kivan Sheyad Aaron Shabanav Yidui Makim Hein. And since Aaron knew that his sons are known to God, that means that they were the ones that made God sanctified and close to God. So Shasak v'kibel schar, he was quiet and he received reward. Shnemar v'yidim Aaron. It says that Aaron was silent. By David it says, David, be quiet to Hashem. What does v'eschelulai mean? And be like mundane, I guess. So afa pisha mapala chalalim at shtoik. Even though people are dying, but you should still stay quiet and accept the judgment with love. Even Solomon, Shlomo says that there's a time for everything. There's a time to be quiet. And there's a time to speak. Sometimes he's quiet and receives reward for being quiet. Sometimes he speaks and he receives reward for speaking. This is what it says. Awesome is God in his sanctuary. I'll take mikdashecha. Don't say from his sanctuary, rather from those that sanctify him. When Hashem does judgment with those that sanctify him, those that are holy to him, Misyare, he is awed, Misalen, he is raised up, Mishalal, and he is praised. Okay. Elakasha Ayla. What about who brings the sacrifices? The kasha was who was it cut up, the sacrifices or not? So the Gemara responds that it's Trei Tanaid. It's a machlekes as well. Let's stop right there. We'll go to that machlekes because there's more to discuss on that.